Hi everyone, this week we studied the portion of Terumah, and the following Dvar Torah is adapted from the Rebbe's talk in Likutei Sichos, volume 6, section 1. This week's Torah portion is named Truma. Truma is contribution. God is commanding the Jewish people to build a sanctuary for God, and the specifics are entailed in this week. Right at the beginning, God tells Moshe to teach the Jews, Ve'asu li mikdash v'shachanti betocham. Let them build me a sanctuary, and I'll rest among them. When was that commandment given, the building of the temple? According to the first opinion, it was given right after the giving of the Torah. The Jewish people left Egypt on the 15th of Nisan, which is somewhere around April, middle of April. 49 days later, a month and a half later, God gave the Torah, and this was somewhere at the end of May. And right after, God commanded the Jewish people to build a temple so He can be among them, and a sign that God is with the Jewish people. The second opinion is that the Torah God commanded Moshe to build a temple. This was after the golden calf, the sin of the golden calf. Moshe, this was done 40 days after the giving of the Torah, and the Jewish calendar date is 17th of Tammuz, which is became a day of fasting in Jewish calendar. That's when they sinned the golden calf. Moshe came down, broke the tablets, and then he ascended to the Mount Sinai and be with God again, twice more, 40 days each. At the conclusion, God said to him, Salachti kidvarecha, I have atoned the Jewish people as you have asked. And that is when He tells Moshe, teach the Jewish people to build me a temple as a sign that I have atoned and forgiven them, and I'll return back to the Jewish people. So the first opinion, it had nothing to do with the golden calf, as the commandment was done way before. Second opinion, it was done after they sinned the golden calf and God had atoned their sin. And there is a third opinion. The third opinion is that God commanded Moshe to build a temple right after the giving of the Torah, before the sin of the golden calf. But Moses did not share it with the Jewish people until after they have asked for forgiveness and God atoned them. So that's a third opinion, that kind of in between the three. The Rebbe points out that even though in reality only one of the three opinion holds, because one way it would have happened, not all three, yet Kabbalah teaches us that every part of Torah is for a lesson, for an appropriate message for us. And therefore, according to Kabbalah, all three opinions are all true and are important in our day-to-day life. And this is how the Rebbe explains the three opinions. The Rebbe explains that according to the first opinion, the temple had nothing to do with sin, and it refers to people who are perfect, as we call them tzaddikim. A righteous man who always obeys God, always follows God's commandments, and does not go sideways. The second opinion, that it was done after God already forgave the Jewish people, it refers to people who are penitents, Ba'al Teshuvah, people who have sinned, went off the path, and now are coming back to God, and God commanded them to build a temple. The third opinion refers to someone who is still wicked, because after all, the sin was given, and the commandment was given, and was still there while they were guilty of the sin of the golden calf, and it was revealed to them only after they have returned back to God, meaning that the commandment was there while they were sinners, Reshaim. So we have three categories of people. You have tzaddikim, righteous, perfect people. You have Baal Teshuvah, people who went off the path and returned back to God. And you have people who are still in their bad behavior and they need to return back. Actually, it does not necessarily speak of three different people. It can be within one person. There are different times and stages in our life where we follow one of the three paths. Says the Rebbe, God wants to teach us that the temple meaning a physical structure, which refers to interaction with the physical universe, relating to the community, to society, to people around us, and connecting with them, that applies to all three categories. For righteous men, people always behave and do what God says. God wants us to know that to connect to God is through society, our community, and the physical universe by interacting with the universe and doing it in the way God wants. The second type, the second opinion, it refers to the penitent, people who have went astray, and sometimes they're fearful that the interaction with the world might pull them down again. And God says, don't worry, you need to realize that that's part of your mission, and you need to continue on serving God while being part of the universe. That's Baal Teshuvah. And the third opinion is, it refers to even people who are still in their wayward and they are still not following God's commandments. God says, please find ways to connect with me, even if you're not perfect and you're not all doing the right things. Still, you have a commandment. That, says the Rebbe, explains another peculiarity in the building of the temple. At the beginning, God is listing different items that must be brought as contribution for the building of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, of the temple. And the Torah begins with Zahav, Kesef, Unechoshet, gold, silver, and copper. Ask the Rebbe, how come such rich structure like the temple of God, there is a room for copper or even silver? After all, there is a rule that is very well known, and it goes in Hebrew, Ein aniyut b'mkom hashirut. When you have richness, there is no room for second class. There is no room for afterthought. Everything has to be perfect and of the highest quality and quantity. Silver and copper, in comparison to gold, are not as great. How is it possible God is asking people to bring copper, to bring silver? And in fact, we see that the cups, there were vessels that they would fill water and feed or let the animals drink before they were slaughtered and brought as an altar on the altar, and they were made out of pure gold. And the reason is because ein aniyut b'mkom hashirut. You cannot bring plastic cups or glass or silver. It has to be gold, even though it does not serve God directly. It was watering the animal. It wasn't a commandment to water them. And the purpose of watering the animal is that after they've been slaughtered, the skin can be peeled off easily. And therefore, they instituted to water to let them drink. And yet, even such an activity was done with gold goblets. Yet, God commands us to bring copper and silver as well. Says the Rebbe that gold, silver, copper actually refers to different personalities representing. Gold represents Baal Teshuvah, a penitent. Silver represents a tzaddik, people who loves God, because silver represents love and kindness in Kabbalah. And copper represents people who are still wicked, Reshaim. And God says that in order for us to build a temple so that God rests, there has to be a participation all over, completely, with every single Jew and at every moment of their life. So if someone is in a point of a low point where they are inappropriately behaving, they need to know that they have to contribute to the temple and do their part. And the lesson for us is obvious. Number one, never shun down someone, never criticize, never put down somebody else just because they are not as connected to God as we are, because without them we cannot have God resting. Number two, everything has a purpose in life, and to build a temple for God, to make God rest among us, is only when every single Jew is participating at every moment of their life and every stage. So there might be someone who is perfect, there might be someone who was perfect and now is coming back, and there might be someone who is still not turned back, has not have a chance to turn back, but he needs to do his part to connect to God by performing another mitzvah, lighting Shabbat candles before sunset, trying to keep kosher even as little as possible, as he is able to, at least advancing from his past, and accepting one more mitzvah that the person didn't do. That's how we build a Mishkan, a tabernacle for God, where everyone is counted, every deed is counted, and all of us are united in one mission to serve God. I want to wish you Shabbat Shalom from the Holy Land, and only good blessings to all of us. Shabbat Shalom.